questions here. Okay, well, we'll start with Mary and then we'll go to Andrew.
So if I had a interest in donating or giving money on an annual basis to a group that's in this area.
Like Success in the City is what she said, in the city.
How would that go?
Well, if you have an interest in contributing to a particular nonprofit organization on a regular basis, the best thing to do would be to establish, at the community foundation, would be to establish a designated fund for that organization. Now, our fund minimum is $10,000. You have to put in $10,000 to be able to give out grants to nonprofit organizations. No, it's just the base is $10,000.
So to start, so if Success in the City said we want to move our foundation inside the community foundation, we'd have to walk in with a $10,000
Well,
check.
actually, you don't even have to walk in with a $10,000 check, but you can't give away any money until you hit $10,000.
Okay.
So you can come in with a smaller check, but you have to build it to $10,000, and the annual fee on that is $500. $500. So that's a kind of, when you look at it, that's a kind of steep fee for $10,000. So it becomes cost effective at $50,000 because the fee is 1.1%. So you're paying $550. So it's not so steep. But we have many funds that come in at the $10,000 level. They typically don't stay there. They'll build them over time. Another good thing about the community foundation is, unlike a private foundation, you have to give out a certain amount every year. You have an annual payout. At the community foundation, you don't. So you can build that. So say you have a goal, I want to get my fund up to $75,000. If it takes you 10 years to build it to $75,000, that's fine. You don't ever have to make a grant out of that fund. Eventually, we'll call you and say, okay, look, you haven't made any grants, and this money is for the community. But setting up a designated fund, people do that because for whatever reason, they've made the decision, I don't want to just give the lump sum to the nonprofit. I want to give this money over a period of time to this nonprofit, but I don't want to give them $10,000 all at once. I'd rather give them $1,000 for 10 years if you're going to spend it down, or our spending policy, if it's endowed, is 5%. That's what we pay off of it. I suggest if individuals think about establishing a donor-advised fund, which is the vehicle of choice for many people, that they keep it as flexible as possible. Because one of the things that we do is we help people learn about organizations throughout the region, and they fall in love with these organizations. And if you're too strict in how you define your fund, then we have to go through the process of creating a new fund agreement for you to be able to expand that fund. Because upon the individual's death, the fund is typically endowed and grants are given to the types of organizations that they have supported throughout their lifetime, if they haven't named a successor, because you actually can name a successor to do your grant making. So designated funds are typically used by people who have had a long-standing relationship with a particular nonprofit organization, and they want to make sure that they're able to give dollars to that nonprofit over a long period of time. Donor-advised funds are the more flexible vehicles that allow you to give to a variety of nonprofit organizations. As long as they're legitimate 501c3 organizations, then you can make recommendations to have grants go to those organizations.
The follow-up question I have for that is, I have clients, for instance, I deal a lot with insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So I have clients that would create a foundation, but what they do is it's funded at their death because they're funding it with life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
That they
Oh,
have
that's
on
interesting.
their life.
Funding your...
So you create it now, it's not funded
Right.
until you die.
Right.
And when you die, here are all the
So we're
Right.
talking about the
so your money
strategy.
lives out in perpetuity.
You can gift insurance policies to community foundations to establish your fund. You can contribute real estate. We accept property, art. We try not to take anything that's mobile, boats, cars, things that move around. We try not to take those things. We can accept portions of LLCs, so we can be a partner in an LLC and receive proceeds from that. We can take closely held stock. When the company is sold, we have a more liquid vehicle. You can't make any grants if you don't have any liquidity in the fund. But upon the event, the event that actually creates a liquid collateral, then we have a fund that you can actually make grants out of. But again, that's another beauty of a community foundation. Private foundations can't take property. and closely held stock. A community foundation, a public foundation can.
Fascinating. So there are a lot of vehicles.
There
for
are a
actually
lot of
making
vehicles.
philanthropy work.
Right.
Andrew, you had a question.
It was answered. I was curious about the fee structure.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
fee structure is 1.1% management fee, and that's all the back office, that's all the processing, that's the cost for us to do our annual financial audit and the cost of doing the tax filings. But what, interestingly, it really doesn't cover some of the, what I think is the more value add of the community foundation, which is being able to help somebody walk through what is their philanthropy. For the individuals who never use the staff at the community foundation beyond just processing what the recommendations are, it covers that. For the folks who say, look, I'm really interested, we had a gentleman who said, I'd like to know more about noise pollution. We actually did a white paper on noise pollution, so he would have this information. I have since rethought that and said that probably wasn't the best use of time, seeing as we weren't going to use that white paper with too many
Right.
other people. But if someone says, you know, there's been a lot of change at DC public schools, can you give us some information about what's going on? Can you give us some information about charters? That sort of thing. We are so involved in those issues that we can easily provide that type of information. And really, that fee does not cover all of that value add, and that's where we raise additional contributions. Once you hit $3,001,001 in your fund, then you get a fee break, and it goes down to 0.65%. After you hit $5 million and one, it goes down to 0.35%. So there's a sliding scale. And I should say, because we've talked about the lower end at $10,000, we also have funds that are upwards of $20 million. So the range is quite broad. I would say the bulk of them are in the middle range of about 150. Or so, 200,000. Well, I probably would say between 99,000 and about 175,000 is kind of where most of our funds fall.
You know, this has been a fascinating conversation because what we've learned is that together we can do so much more than we can alone. And I really think that's what the Community Foundation, it's what the word community means. So it's really been a fascinating conversation today, and I think we've all discovered ways that we can make a difference. I think sometimes we feel like, you know, we're working so hard and we've got to, you know, put kids through college and we've got all these responsibilities, and then together we can make a difference. I think that was really powerful.
Well, I hope people will consider the Community Foundation as a partner in their giving. Even if you don't establish a fund, it's a wonderful resource on what's happening in the community. And when you call, we don't check to see if you have a fund. We just want to know that you're interested in the community. So if people want information, they should feel free to contact the Community Foundation. And of course, we take checks, cash, Visa, MasterCard.
She's got her machine right here under the table, so.
But yes, we just want you to think of the Community Foundation as your partner in giving here in the region.
This has been fascinating.
Thanks,
I can't
Cynthia.
thank you enough, and congratulations. This last year, you were awarded Women Who Mean Business by the
Yes.
Washington Business Journal.
Thank you.
So proud to have you in the alumni. It's an incredible group, and I think you're really going to love being involved there. And it shows how much you're really making a difference, so that's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And next month, we're going to be interviewing Gina Schaefer, who is the CEO, or happens to own 4 Ace Hardware stores, which we've got them here in Washington, D.C. So we're going to be talking about the nuts and bolts of business. So we'll be seeing you next time. Take care.